man? What up, dude? How's it going, man? Welcome to the Body Slam TNA post show. I'm joined always with my good buddy Io. How you doing, man?
Man, I am doing good, doing great. Like, but I mean that from a TNA fan standpoint, like it feels like something that's just happening that we've been waiting for so many years is just coming to fruition, and like it's just a nice feeling. And then when the brand finally gets its flowers. But yeah, but how you doing, buddy?
I completely agree. Like I would say, like this week should be like a victory lap for like
Yep.
any like anybody who's been like a TNA fan for like I would say a long. I'm not saying like even since I would say obviously including the beginning, but people have been here since like I would say the shittier days. You know what I mean? The days when you didn't know if the lights were going to keep coming on. You know what I mean? Like that. There's some impacts like a few years ago. I would say pre-pandemic 2017 they were very lean. You know what I mean? 2018. So it's like you fast forward to now. It's like wow. And then especially, and we're going to get into it. Like you look at just like the history of the company, and then just like, and I want you to take it from here.
Yeah.
But like just like the when you look at all the networks that they've been on and like the fall from grace that they once were from the Spike TV days and then till now and like the things to come, it's pretty incredible.
It is. It is. That's why I brought my fellow drink here, and I see you drinking too. So we're just gonna do our own virtual cheers
Yeah.
to us, the TNA faithful and wrestling fans that have stuck with this brand, that has always kept the brand's letters in their mind and thoughts in mind, whether it's good or bad. This is a cheers to everyone. Yes, but it's finally, as we know, it's finally official. January the 15th, 2026. TNA Impact is going to AMC. Yeah, yeah. Every week, every Thursday. Yeah, every Thursday, 9 p.m. on AMC and AMC Plus. So yeah, with some sprinkle with some live episodes and with some tape episode, but like the first two episodes will be live indeed, and we're gonna get to Genesis later. But yeah, this this is a pretty big deal. Like, there's no more much to describe. This is a pretty big deal. AMC is a very well-known channel of I think a very top 30 channel. Home to some very notable shows, obviously with the Breaking Bad, a few other shows and stuff. TNA, yeah, TNA is going to be seen in so many homes. It's way, it's way big than obviously than Access and than the previous channel since Spike TV, obviously. So for me, like it feels I know like a lot of people, a lot of the talent are they're gonna say this, and I know Carlos Silva's been doing media interviews left and right. But yeah, to me, this is a culmination of a 11-year journey. Um, here's a company that was pretty much on its deathbed so many times. Didn't even know it was didn't even know if it had like an upside or a future after so many things. Um, obviously, when the Jarretts, had the company, and then Dixie, bought the company, and then they were on Spike. I mean, they were on Fox Sports, and then they were on Spike. Then they got kicked off Spike, and then they moved to Destination America, which wasn't which wasn't Spike TV, obviously, but like, and then they got moved to Pop. Pop was a good landing, but financially wasn't it wasn't a good spot too. And then things went south. They ended up getting booted to which is um Pursuit, which is a very lower level channel. And then to
Yeah.
even to even go on Twitch. I know, like, to even be on to the point where they were even on Twitch. I remember those days too. And then then at least for like the past 5 years, they found like a good spot. And when Anthem owned the network Access TV, and then that's where they were for years, leading up to here in this moment that they finally are getting to move to another network, AMC. So yeah, this has been a pretty long journey for TNA. It's just it's incredible. I mentioned and I said this in our post too, that someday they're gonna write documentaries or write books about this company, because the comeback, it's incredible how the comeback that they've, like I mentioned, it was on his deathbed. Then they started, and also the funny thing is, like, it felt like it needed to happen at some point, like for them to learn their mistakes the hard way, in which they did the hard way, leading up to this part. And obviously, yes, of course, the WWE relationship, kind of hand in, giving them the exposure, letting everyone know, hey, that TNA is still around, at least letting, yeah, at least letting the someone at least letting the world know that like TNA that is still around. I mean, of course, yeah, TNA had the rebrand that was well, and then of course the partnership, all that rolling up to finally getting this nice this great moment of having a great television deal and access. I mean, sorry, in AMC. So yeah, I feel like, yeah, they're gonna write books and documentaries about how great this company survived for this comeback. Where, yeah,
No, completely agree with you. And I know when they were on Spike TV, I believe did Spike TV have the UFC at the time as well, or they had Bellator, right?
they had UFC, Bellator.
Yeah, and obviously you can make an argument that is a bigger deal than AMC, but like just backpedaling to what you had said in the beginning, yeah, not only do they have Breaking Bad, like Mad Men, like The Walking Dead, Better Call Saul, like this network has had some acclaimed shows, and maybe it's not what it was, but the name of the game seems to be live sports rights, and this could be a perfect marriage, just the two. You know what I mean? And like you said at the beginning as well, way bigger reach than Access. Obviously, we could argue, Access is obviously it's been better now, just because Anthem is, since they own the channel, they do put they obviously put resources into it. It's still pretty like a lower level channel. I don't know. I don't have the number in front of me how many homes Access is,
Um,
but I don't think it's many. It can't be many,
yeah,
right?
just I think just about 30 million, probably
Yeah. So
30 million.
AMC is obviously way up. Like you said, it's like a top 40 network, right?
It's a top 30 network.
Yeah. So the reach is going to be way farther. So
Yeah,
better things on the horizon. You can only
yeah,
imagine, like it's go time now with this
yeah.
deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the good thing is it's a fresh network too. Uh, the owners, like the owners, like they're interested in getting into the sports, the sports entertainment field. Like you mentioned, like the previous shows that AMC has hosted and stuff. So it's a nice fresh, it's a nice it's a nice fresh spot for like both sides. Like TNA, is back on a bigger platform. AMC is getting into like the wrestling business. Like it all connects into one and stuff.
And yeah, like I'm trying to access this here. Yeah, like like I said, like I personally have Access, but I use the TNA app. I just find it, since I already have it, that's usually what I watch it on. But I will be watching on AMC since I have that channel as well.
Mhm.
But I like just to kind of like think a few steps ahead now. Like, what are you hoping to see just off the top? Like immediately. Like you had mentioned that we're going to get 2 live shows in January. I believe we're getting one before Genesis and the one after. You know, obviously I'm immediately thinking let's start spending some money. You know what I mean? Let's go. You know, try to sign somebody. Let's get a name. But what do you immediately think? What do you want to see?
I want to see the whole crew and the roster put their best foot forward. Like this is an opportunity that they should not take lightly in the slightest. Like this is now I know like for years we've been, of course, by we I mean like the roster has been kind of putting their foot forward, letting everyone know that like TNA, is climbing back. I'm sorry, well, Impact at the time, but like it's climbing back. Like we have a great roster, put on great shows, this and that. Now is the time to kind of like show that to the world. Like this didn't happen by like this did not happen by accident. And anyone tells you that, don't allow them to don't allow them to put that in your head. Like this is all by design. Like all of this has led to this moment. Like now is the time to put best foot forward. And I know they're gonna be prepared. I was listening to Kazarian on Busted Open. Like he's prepared to kind of let the locker room know, like, you don't take this shit lightly. Like and this is coming from a guy who's been in previous locker rooms, during the TNA days, and then of course in other promotions. So yeah, what I want to see them put on a banging ass show to make fans when they're done watching have that joyous feeling, like can't wait to watch again for the next 7 days. Because that's for next year. That's the kind of like the mission. And Thursday Night Impact, the place to be, the place to watch on Thursdays, and of course they got thankfully, like I think football season is going to be wrapping up soon at some point. So there's a slot there to for Thursday wrestling, because as you know, Bert, like a lot of wrestling fans, we kind of crave and hunger for more wrestling. Despite some may not admit that, but like we crave for more wrestling, especially for primetime wrestling, and for like another third tier wrestling promotion. And TNA has always been that, no doubt about that. So and now is the time. It's put up or shut up, basically.
And you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, because I could give a shit about trying to, or like fueling the argument of like, especially like I think it's a lot of it is the people, the AEW haters that are just maybe more like the WWE trolls trying to fuel the argument. But like I can give a shit about where TNA's ranked, but like you just said, like TNA is going to be a strong top 3 TNA wrestling brand. You know what I mean? With primetime TV. You know what I mean, during the week. So that's exciting. And like you said, football's wrapping it. And I like the move to 9 p.m., 6 p.m. West. I think that I like that move. I don't mind that at all. I know some people might disagree with that, but I think that's a good move.
Yeah, I think it's pretty. Yeah, TNA's been on 9 p.m. Central shows in the past, so it's not really nothing new.
So yeah, we had just mentioned, and yeah, you're right. But this is very exciting, and like you said, the roster needs to step up. Everyone needs to step up.
Yeah.
And I mentioned before about like, oh yeah, wanting to sign people, but I shouldn't get ahead of myself, because obviously also when I heard this news, I'm like, okay, let's go take care of that core. You know what I mean? Like that's who, that's, you got to build around that. And it seems like now that they have the future, and like obviously it would seem the funds and the investment to do so, they should. But obviously after they do that, it would be nice to see talent. That is always nice. But
Yeah.
as we wrap
Definitely.
this up, do you have any more thoughts?
I was gonna say, yeah, I do like to see new talent, obviously instead, but I think right now the focus should be to kind of re-sign in their current talent. As I understand, some deals are coming up soon and stuff, but they're in negotiation now, as told. So let's get that out of the way, and then put on some good shows for the nice introduction into the new era, and then obviously we'll go into recruitment later. Basically, kind of step by step. So there's that. Yeah, to wrap up, the countdown is on. Like we have like 33 days, I believe. No, 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 no. We're over a month away. Yeah, we're over a month away. But yeah,
Yeah.
the countdown's on. Get ready. That's all I can say, because the new era is coming, and based on the vignette that we saw tonight, it's just gonna let you know that like the roster seems to be ready.
Yeah, 42 days away, which
Yeah,
is not
42. Sorry,
long.
42 days away.
Yeah, it's very exciting. That promo just with the AMC logo and the ring and the backdrop, it's very dope. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get tired of seeing that. Like,
Mm.
I'm definitely very excited just to see that opening shot, of the presentation and just what it looks like. And and we always talk about too, like, I don't want to take for granted what we have now, obviously, because it's great. But like, there's just something about live wrestling, you know what I mean, and getting it live instead of taped.
Yeah.
It's going to be very exciting. So, okay, did you have any final thoughts before we get into tonight's show? Or just on the news in general? Anything else?
I think that about covers it. But yeah, AMC Plus, and TNA Plus. Yeah, to help clarify. Yeah, it's gonna be on AMC Plus, TNA Plus, so that it helps diffuse any situation where if anyone needs to like unsubscribe from TNA Plus, or no. So yeah, that kind of covers it. Yeah, like I said, well, get prepared. It's gonna be awesome. January 15th. Oh yeah, Genesis. Oh yeah, so yeah, they just finally announced that Genesis on the Saturday, January 17th. So the next few days after are gonna be pretty fun too.
I'm glad they announced. And it's funny. I wanted you to. I'm glad you made that. I mean, I'm glad that you brought that up because I wanted you to take some credit because I believe last week and then just in the week in a lot of our group chats, you just kind of mentioned that you wanted to see the TV deal announcement and the Genesis announcement. I'm glad that we kind of got both, and I just think that now that we have them, now that it's done,
My ultimatum work.
Yeah, now we can breathe. You know what I mean? A little bit. I think all TNA fans can breathe a
Yeah,
little bit when
yeah,
they've heard that news, and now it's just kind of like all. Now it's all thinking about what could be. So
yeah,
it's very
yeah.
exciting. Okay, let's get into tonight's show. Obviously, it was the Final Resolution Go Home show, and I thought this was, for what it was, a very solid show. Again, I don't want to say it overshadowed the show, but I thought that the excitement around this new deal with AMC was very much the theme, and I really like that just because it's exciting. You know what I mean? Again, I think a lot of that's really I think that's what a lot of TNA fans can really all not stop thinking about. You know what I mean? Me included, I can say. So, what did you think about tonight's show overall, Aya? Before we get into it,
Um, I thought they did good job capitalizing on the news. Again, the vignette was awesome. Of course, that was like you said, that was the main thing, kind of like getting that plug in. Yeah, tonight was basically a go home show for Final Resolution. Um, some matches kind of set the tone. I mean, we kind of had like 3 TNA NXT matches to kind of really set that feud going. The knockouts, I thought they did well with Brookside and Luna, which we'll get into later. But yeah, decent go home episode.
I am laughing at Miguel's
Yeah,
comment.
I see Miguel there. Yeah.
um, you know what? Okay, yeah, we're gonna open it up with that. Obviously, we're gonna start with the show with it was a hometown man taking on Brooks Jensen, and our good buddy Miguel. I'm gonna bring up his comment. He says that I apparently I claim that Brooks Jensen's the wrestler of the year. I don't remember saying that.
The son of Bull Buchanan, which some of you might not even remember that name, but
I remember I remember that name. Wasn't he in like Right to Censor, I believe, for a
yeah,
little bit? Yeah.
the big guy from Red to Censor. Yeah.
He was in a lot of groups, and he had a you know what I mean. He wasn't like a star, but he was a journeyman. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Brooks Jensen will be lucky to get to that.
Yeah.
But anyways, Brooks Jensen taking on hometown man, and Brooks Jensen was able to get the win. You know, I think the theme of this show also was NXT. I think they were the ones that kind of came in on top, and we're going to talk about that, you know, kind of as we go on. But while I was a little hesitant on the names that they sent over, if one of the jobs is for us to try to get some of these guys over, you know what I mean? I'm not going to complain about that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's trying to make stars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was fine. I was fine with NXT getting the first win in this. But what'd you think about this match?
Yeah, this was the way to kind of really set the tone for the NXT TNA matches. Not surprised Jensen got the win here because Lexis King was with him. It was an all right match. Hometown Man did as much as he could, but like the numbers gang, caught up to him and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, again, this was fine. I was interesting. They started with this match, but then when I thought about it, and then I'm going through the card, I'm glad they started with this because you know what I mean. This was definitely the weakest of the matches on the card. So
yeah,
this was fine. And again, NXT getting the first win in this because I think we're building towards some sort of big TNA versus NXT match. Wouldn't you agree? At some point.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say yeah, probably. Or who knows? Maybe they'll just finish it up this weekend, but who knows? It depends how long we're going with this feud.
Well, I kind of want a long feud, especially because I don't know if it happened last week or if it happened this week, but I believe didn't TNA is returning the cage match, and I believe it's going to be a good cage, so maybe we get at least a lockdown match. Sorry,
that is true. No, that is true. The steel cage is coming back.
Yes, and hopefully it's better than that. You guys in the chat, you guys remember that horrible cage we had a few months ago? That was like a fence. So hopefully we get the return of a real steel cage and we get a proper lethal lockdown match. And I think TNA versus NXT would be very fun.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the next match. Sorry, trying to pull out my notes. Okay, we just get a quick little Rascal segment, and you know what? It's like Wesley's it's like he never left. You know what I mean? Like just the transition to already being back. Like the Rascals are on on fire on all cylinders. I love this, and later, like I'm glad we got some Trey Miguel later in the show because I thought Trey Miguel looked phenomenal. But this was a fun segment, you know what I mean? Like again, I'm so glad Wesley's back. I think I read somewhere too. I forget where I saw the post, but just talking about how the TNA locker room is like the best locker room he's ever been in. You just love hearing like that. So
yeah,
what do you think about this, Io?
Yeah, it was sweet having all four of them in the treehouse segment, and that was pretty hilarious. Of Trey and Wentz, acted like who's this guy? Like I don't he I don't recognize this Desmond guy. Basically kind of bringing up a little like sprinkle about like what happened last year and stuff. But yeah, they kind of clarify. Yeah, um, Wesley is Desmond Xavier, same guy. Yeah, s- new look, new back home. I guess you could say that. But yeah, it was pretty funny. To yeah, have all four of them, and then they were talking about their opponents, Order 4. Uh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yo,
He was like saying like
you
I'm
take
gonna
it from
order
here.
a
Yeah.
4. He's like I'm gonna order a 4. Like this whole segment was gold. And then like because like I have a juvenile sense of humor. Like I forget who said it. Like someone said he punched me in the wiener, and like I was like dying. Like I had to like step back from the TV for a second. I was like, Jesus Christ, I can't believe he just said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this whole segment was funny. But yeah, like I mentioned, like Wesley back, like again, feels like he hasn't left yet, and so like I'm hoping that they really go like, especially booking wise, I know some of them are so I think all of them might be for needing to be re-signed as well. So
Yeah.
hopefully they all are retained and we go really Rascals heavy because I really think that you could build the company around these 4. So and they should be included, you know what I mean, in that core. So yeah, let's hopefully that we can retain the Rascals.
Yeah.
Okay. Next we get what I think was one of the better segments of the show. Again, I'm not saying that the show was weak or anything, but I really like this. We get like an inspiration promo, and it was good. You know what I mean? I think that obviously their chemistry, we know their chemistry was on full display here. They're a great tag team. You know what I mean? And for what you know what I mean for this division. But then we get Tessa and Alicia, Victoria Crawford, and you know what is I'm really like the more the weeks go on, like the more I'm really hoping that they walk out as champions at Final Resolution tomorrow because wrestling needs strong heels and like Tess and Victoria Crawford would be a great heel team, especially if you add in Mila Moore to the mix. I really think that's a good, you know what I mean? That could be the next faction of the Knockouts, to kind of like take the torch from what the Elegance brand left behind, you know what I mean? Unfortunately. But I thought this was really good, Io.
Yeah, this was I know for in my mind this is of course kind of like the least relevant match of the card, no offense, but this is a good way to kind of like get people at least interested in some sort. Yeah, having the inspiration come down, talking about their latest defense from Turning Point, and then in comes Tessa and Crawford to lay down the challenge, and then Mila Moore, Mila, I think Mila Moore, I think that's how pronounced it. Yeah, Mila Moore came down, attacked them from behind. Glad to see like they're continuing this supposed alliance between those 3, and then of course the inspiration, fighting back, getting their licks back, and having the last word after. So it's gonna be interesting tomorrow for this pretty interesting challenge for the 2 Aussie girls.
Yeah, I do think we're going to get more into it. I do think we'll see new champions. Obviously, like I just said, we're going to talk about it. But I did think the segment was really good. I thought the 2 teams had very good chemistry with each other. And like I said, the heel team of Tessa, Victoria, and Mila, I think there's a lot of potential there, especially with kind of like Tessa as the leader, as the workhorse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it could be really good. And I've said before, I think that's really how you kind of test the idea of Tessa as champion.
Yeah.
Because like I've we watch TNA, we follow it. It seems it's pretty quiet around her. You know what I mean? I don't really see. It's been a while since I've been to a live show, but I really don't hear too much Tessa hate right now. So to me, that's a good sign. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Next
like
week.
yeah, it's been a year because yeah, it's been a year since she's back, and she hasn't really caused any ruffled any feathers. So yeah,
And you know what? And like, I'm not going to get into it. I had said this in our group chat that whether or not she comes back in terms of Masha, I really think that's what we need to happen with her. You know what I mean? Like, for whatever people want to say, I know Tess is going to continue to have her critics. Like I just said, I haven't heard anything, and we follow TNA.
exactly.
We watch it every week. We pay attention to all the stuff about it, and I haven't really saw anything. And so I'm not saying that like I'm a Tessa fan, but that's good enough for me in terms of right now. I'm saying right now, put the tag team titles on her. So
Yeah.
okay, next we're just gonna get it. I like this. So it's kind of Santino hyping up his team, and now that I'm thinking about this, I think the ultimate goal would be to get a Team NXT, Team TNA
TNA.
lethal lockout match. In my dream scenario, I would want Ariana to turn on her dad and be leading the Team NXT team. I think that would really add some juice to this do it. But it was just Santino hyping up his team. Like Team TNA for the tonight. It was the Hardys. It was Macklin. This was
Cedric.
good. Oh yeah, Cedric, and this was good. I really like this. You know what I mean? Like, as much as I like kind of hated the idea of Santino on TV a lot, while I'm not a fan, Santino is very entertaining, and this was very fun. What did you think about this?
I agree. This was this is a way to kind of to motivate the team, for tonight's main event. Kind of pump them up to let them like to show these NXT guys, they can't just come in and you take over and stuff. So this is a good segment.
Yeah, and I like how, because remember that segment from a few months ago, like it was Macklin, it was the Hardys. They were kind of like, and I think Leon was there. They were kind of like basically saying they're going to put TNA on their backs. You know what I mean? They're kind of like the flag bearers, and I'm glad that they've kind of continued to have that storyline. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah, yeah.
that was good. Okay, next we're going to get into what I thought was a fucking fantastic match. It was Danny Luna, despite the finish, even though we kind of foreshadowed that. It was Danny Luna taking on Xia Brookside for the number one contender to the newly crowned
Layling.
Laying Lee Knockouts title for Final Resolution tomorrow. This was a good match. I would build the company around these two women as well as Lay going forward. You got to make them part of your core. This was fantastic. Like I said, hard hitting, very good. Danny Luna's a powerhouse. You know what I mean? I think 2026 is going to be her year in this company. You know what I mean? I would strap the rocket to her. As well as Xia, I think, the following year, even the same year, I think she's top babyface potential. But I'll open with you. What'd you think of this?
Yeah, this was very good. This was very good for both women, especially for Brookside. I think this was kind of her best match thus far in the company. Sorry, she was hanging with a very caliber talent as Danny Luna, for like most of like 22 minutes. And like you said, yeah, I think the company right now is, we're going into a new direction, the knockouts direction. Not only like her other partner Lady League's a champion, but also I think it's fair to kind of at least put Brookside in that same path instead of just being like a tag partner of some sort. But yeah, this is a good way to kind of boost her. Also they also continued. They also did a good job continuing the Danny and Indy Hartwell feud, having Indy come out to interfere. So yeah, this doesn't really hurt Luna because she has a case that Hartwell interfered. But yeah, but nonetheless, it was a good match. very good style from two Brits. Very slow pace, hard hitted bout, which I kind of dig and stuff. So yeah, the Angel Warriors are going up against each other tomorrow.
And again we alluded to the finish. Indy kind of costing Danny the match. Obviously, I think Indy had a chain or something. You know, she was able to hit Danny, throw her back in the ring. I won with the roll up.
Payback from 2 weeks ago with Luna using the chain on her.
Exactly, and so it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt Danny.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? It doesn't. I mean, it keeps Danny, away from the title, but still in the title picture. Same with Indy. You know what I mean? And we get Xia versus Lay, which I would assume Lay is gonna retain. I don't think there's gonna be. I don't foresee a heel turn. I think I see a few people maybe saying maybe. I don't think they're gonna break up the Angel Warriors this soon.
No.
Obviously anything's possible. But I like this because it gives all three something to do. But this
that's right. That's right. Yeah, it gives everyone something to do. Continues a feud. Also, boosts up both tag partners. So yeah.
And it gives more people to do without creating another title. We don't need to keep adding another. Real quick, I looked it up. Yeah, Xia, Danny 26, Xia 27. You got to lock them down at TNA. I would say those are two that you got to build around. Yeah. So,
yeah, okay. Got some young cats in the Knockouts division.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And so now the depth is there. The future stars are there as well. So now you just kind of continue to build on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next, we're going to get what I would call, with all capitals, I would call it a squash. It was the current Robert Stone. TNA fans, you might know him as Robbie E, former of the Bromance, former tag team partner with Big Robbie. He once had a gimmick where he was basically the Snooki knockoff named Cookie. You know what I mean? I thought he was a very entertaining guy. You know what I mean? When he was in TNA, but Santana just basically laid him out. You know what I mean? This was not.
Mike wasn't working by the hour. Yeah.
Yeah. This was light work for Santana. Get ready for his match tomorrow night. This was fine. I'm glad they had Santana squash him. I'm glad it wasn't competitive. You know what I mean? I was saying, Robert needed Big Robbie out there. You know what I mean? He needed somebody in his corner.
I made the joke saying, Robbie would have lasted longer. Not, but
yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah. Okay.
And I told you guys, hey, get your timers ready, and then bam. But one guy, as Mike said, one guy down. Next one coming. So Charlie Dempsey, be prepared. So another step of Mike's goal of taking down the NXT guy before he set his focus on getting the world title back. So,
I'm glad.
Be warned, fellas. That's all I can say.
Him going out there and just smashing him was the way to go, and that's what they did. Real quick, I just want to read a comment from Eric Isaac. He doesn't have AMC, but he's got TNA Plus. I'm glad you mentioned that. It's going to continue to be on TNA Plus as far as Impact will be continued to be on TNA Plus as far as I saw, which is great. Yeah. In a time when I don't think it's a secret. I believe WWE's removed all their content from Peacock in about 27 days. The TNA Plus is the best value in wrestling, I would say. You know what I mean? Look at all that content you get that past like 22 years, 23 years of history.
Yeah.
All of
it. Yeah. I mean, AMC, AMC, having AMC to the fray is a major addition because that app has like, well, the channel, yeah, the channel's in a lot of homes, but also the app too. It has 10 million subscribers, from my understanding. So, and compared to like the thousands on TNA Plus subscription, so yeah, it's a pretty big deal. Basically, like similar to like with the Netflix and then the HBO Max deal with the other companies. So yeah, but yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah, TNA Plus is still going to be streaming. So yeah, everybody wins. No excuse, no excuses at this point. That's kind of how it is. The excuses are dead at this point. Yeah, everybody knows how to watch TNA.
Next, we get just a quick cast promo, and obviously it might still be a sour thing that Kaz is champion right now, but you can say whatever you want about. But this guy is been in this business for as long as he has for a reason. He's a great heel. I think he's in his best run as a heel in TNA right now, currently. And this was a good promo. He had a really funny line. I'm trying to find it, but this was a great promo.
Yeah, he really put JDC to blast, saying that well, we have so many guys retiring. Cena's retiring. I guess AJ's done after next year. But also it said like, yeah, the difference between those guys, like they're gonna go down as legends, pioneers and da da da. Some JDC is not, and I was like, damn. I'm like, damn, you didn't have to say that out. You didn't have to say that out loud and stuff. So yeah, this is Frankie being the normal cocky prick he is and stuff. So
we'll get to it when we get there. But I think JDC had a pretty good line getting back at him. But yeah, no, this was pretty much again. This was a burn. This is a roasting. You know what I mean? But again, I thought JDC was pretty good as well. So this was good.
Yeah.
Okay, next we're gonna move into what I thought was like a very, very, very interesting First Class Penthouse segment, because on one hand, I think the writing's on the wall that I think that this group could be on its way out, or at least at the very least the version of Rich and Rich being in the group. But one of the themes continues to be that AJ is reminding Rich that he dropped the ball in his X Division title match. And yeah, that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm interested in this because on one hand, I don't want them to break up, but I said it after watching Rich in his previous match with Leon. I'm kind of ready for Rich to, try to go get back into the main event scene, very least X Division scene. I thought the Rich looked the best of his career. So this was very interesting to me. What did you think about this whole segment? And before Leon came out, just the interaction between Adrian and Rich.
Yeah, it's very very interesting. There seems like there still seems to be some tensions between Swan and AJ. Yeah, I'm kind of curious to how long Swan is gonna keep letting this dude talk to him like that and stuff. Like, hey, yeah, you didn't beat Slater, but at the same time, like, that shouldn't take away of what. Let's put it this way. It could have put it this way. I was gonna say it could have at any given night. Anyone could have won. Like, hey, I mean, who knows? Swan could have beaten Slater, but that doesn't mean to kind of really say like he dropped the ball and stuff. And like, I get it's like Francis. He said it too. Like, he only cares about success and W's and stuff. Well, last I checked, man, you challenged for the world title around this time last year, and you didn't get that done. So, what's your excuse? But yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, they had Slater come down. And Slater, was basically getting on Swan's behalf. Reminding Swan, what he's accomplished and stuff, and he's gonna keep letting Francis talk to him like that and stuff. Of course, yeah, and of course AJ, having to resort back, basically, basically, I like looking down verbally at Slater, like. So yeah, these two were kind of getting into it. I love Slater's I love Slater's comeback too. You're saying like if you God forbid you try to flip a dive on me because we all know how that happened. But that kind of cracked me up there. So yeah, this is a good segment. Yeah, Slater. Yeah, he held his own. He held his own on the mic. And then things kind of get and then things kind of got physical after and stuff. What's interesting is when AJ Slater did the first shots and AJ got the upper hand back. He he told Swan to pick up the X Division belt and kind of nail Slater, and then Swan, he didn't want to resort to that tactic, and then of course AJ talking down on Swan again, and then of course he shoves Swan to the corner, then gives Slater the down payment choke slam. So yeah, this was a good segment. Very interesting tomorrow. Should be a very good banger.
Yes, I think that it's a perfect
And
clash of styles as well.
yeah,
It's
I
gonna
was
be a
gonna say
great
yeah.
match.
I was gonna say yeah. Thank you, Matthew. Yeah, Francis did have his title shot last year. The one against Nemeth. So, yeah.
And it let's just say if they go the route of breaking First Class up, which I don't have a problem if this is all Swerve
Pers-
and
Personal.
Rich.
I'll
Oh, sorry.
I'll let you continue.
Oh, no,
I
I
was
was
gonna
just saying I don't have a problem if it's a Swerve. I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
say personally, I hope First Class don't break up because KC Navarro eventually is gonna make his return. Wanted to see get his payback on both guys, but yeah, especially Francis.
Yes.
I'll let you continue.
If they break up, let me just say that like I do think that, again, I've said before many times, I think pushing Francis to the upper level of the main event world title scene, I think it would just be smart. And even more so, again, if they lose Jake, because I think they booked in terms of a big man, I know they're very different. Jake's more of the mobile big man, but I think AJ is you need somebody like that. You know what I mean? Like a big heel. And I think they've done very well with AJ. AJ's done very well in TNA.
Yeah.
And I think he should be treated as an asset. And he's another guy that I would hope that they keep. But I'm with you. First Class staying together and the storyline with Casey coming back is obviously very interesting. I do want to see where that goes as well. That's always there.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we're going to hear just from this JDC. And again, I wouldn't say that this was as good as what Kazarian said, but JDC just did kind of mention WrestleMania and Kaz, him being there before and Kaz not. I believe that's what he alluded to.
Yeah.
And again, he's like, I don't want to bring that up, be that guy, but while JDC maybe not being a world champion, WrestleMania is WrestleMania, and that is a big fucking deal. So I thought that was a pretty good burn as well. So I think these two men have done a great job in building up, because who knows how long Kaz is going to be champion. But like, let's say if he was just going to lose it, I didn't want him to lose it in his first defense. And they've done a great job with this feud in the short time that they've had to build it.
Exactly.
So good for them. That's kind of like the benefit of the tape show as well, if you think about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can kind of do stuff like that they've have been. So I'm looking forward to this match.
Yeah, and it's a good way of taking the fans back to memory lane about, like, what both guys have accomplished leading up to here. I mean, this like you said, this was a good way to kind of build up like a quick match in hand, because they booked this match out of nowhere. Both guys are trained from the legendary Killer Kowalski. Uh, of course, Kazarian. Talking down about no one's gonna care about JDC retiring, and then like you said, JDC retorting back. Well, he defeated Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. The night after, fans he was a trend with that Fandango music and stuff. So yeah, so it should be both guys bring something to the table, so it should be a very interesting clash and a good way for it to cap off JDC's JDC's run before he retires.
Completely agree with you. And again, I'm going to keep saying how sad it is, because JDC, I think, is in his peak right now. Wasn't really used too much in W. Again, I know he had a WrestleMania run, but I think he's still got a lot left, as what I could see.
Yeah.
But again, okay, we're going to move on to what I thought probably the match of the night. Now I think about it, Mustafa Ali versus Trey Miguel. This was a banger.
Absolute banger.
And the finish was tremendous, with obviously Trey Miguel trying to go for the Meteora again, and Mustafa Ali automatically capitalizing that, putting the sharpshooter on. Trey Miguel couldn't take much. He taps out immediately. This was great. Really not too much interference. Order 4 come out on top. You want to have that leading up into the match. The show was very heel heavy in terms of wins. I like that. You want that going into a match, going to the pay-per-view where you're hoping that TNA is going to come out on top on the big stage. This was very good, Io. Very good.
Yeah, this was a good way to continue the feud, the Rascals in Order 4. Mustafa Ali, he's on his best run right now. Every match, like you said, every match he's in is a banger. His character has evolved like from the past, from the previous years up to now. Like he's more calculated and driven, and very ruthless, as we saw too. So yeah, it's only a matter of time before he goes on a path to to becoming world champion. Hopefully, maybe next year, who knows? But this was a good way to continue building the momentum for the Order 4 side. So it should be interesting. So far, John Skyler, he beat Myron Reed a couple weeks back. Now Mustafa defeating Trey Miguel. So so far 2-0 on the momentum side. So tomorrow should be interesting.
Exactly. Tomorrow, I'm looking very forward to tomorrow. I would think that the Rascals would get the win tomorrow. You had just mentioned that Myron Reed losing to John Skyler a couple weeks ago. Obviously, Ali winning tonight. And I completely agree with you. Ali's at the peak of his powers right now. Guys are, I know Ali's, I think almost maybe near 40, around there. But, guys aren't breaking down like they used to in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Like these guys are taking, these men and women are taking a lot better care of their bodies in terms of and you've seen people wrestle longer up into their 50s now. And Ali's another person, that's kind of the theme of the night, who I would build this company around in terms of the core that you need to establish, especially going into this new TV network. You know what I mean? You need a roster. And Ali's definitely should be somebody, and like you just said, Al, he's definitely someone. I think the world title's coming to him very soon. I think he will be champion in 2026. I would like them to run him back with Santana. You would like to see Santana probably.
Yeah.
You want to see that. That was probably feud of the year last year in TNA. So ultimately, them running that back would be the goal.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we just get a really a final resolution card rundown. We're not gonna get into that now because we're gonna do predictions after the show. So next, we're just gonna get into our main event, which again, I wouldn't call it the caliber of the previous match, but this was a very fun match. You had the Hardys, Steve Maclin, and Cedric Alexander versus Lexis King, Stacks, Tyson DuPont, and Tyreek Eway. This was a very fun match. Fucking Rockstar Hardy pop. Obviously, it was infectious. I believe you saw Maclin pull a Hardy in the corner. I don't think I've ever seen. I didn't think I'd ever see Steve Maclin do that.
Yeah.
This was a fun match. Like I said, I like the idea now that I keep thinking about it, especially with what I saw from Tyson and Tyreek. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna knock on trying to build these guys. And like I said, them getting the win in what I thought was a very competitive match. Again, a little shenanigans at the end. Lexis King was able to hit him with the staff. It looked like quick roll up. But I thought this was a fun match for what it was. I'm not gonna knock the way the finish. I'm not gonna knock the way it was booked. This was good.
Same. Yeah, I think in a way to kind of continue heating things up for tomorrow. Yeah, the NXT guys getting the win. I didn't have a problem with that. Um, just let you know, yeah, these guys, they're playing dirty. They come up to our house and then they want to play dirty. So yeah, just means like this. Just means like the battle's gonna get more intense now. So yeah, and to come up earlier, yeah, I do think this is gonna continue in towards the steel cage match. Hopefully, as we'll see in the coming weeks. But yeah.
Yes, the more that especially since we didn't immediately go into that at the beginning of the show, but now that I'm thinking, I'm like, oh yeah, we got the cage back. We have to see that match. Like it has to like come into fruition. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. Yeah, there's not many feuds right now TNA has that I think is capable for Cage other than this one. So I think it's gonna culminate in the cage match.
Exactly.
Yeah. That way, like Santana can keep his word, saying like he's gone through all the members, depending who's in it, but yeah. Final resolution will be how do I put this? It'll be a blow like the TNA guys defeating the NXT guys, and then the final nail will be the cage match. But we'll see.
Yeah,
God forbid we lose another title tomorrow.
Yeah, I think this feud definitely could have some legs to it in terms of, especially if you build towards a very, very compelling lethal lockdown match, especially if that's something they do. You know what I mean? I would hope that they do with the returning of the cage.
Yeah.
But we can only hope. With that being said, that we're going to wrap up this part of the show. What did you think of the show overall as a whole? I thought it was a pretty good go home show.
This episode got me pumped for not only Final Resolution but also January. Especially like again mentioned that was a dang good opener. I know we didn't talk about it much, but yeah, it was good. Like having all the it was very similar to the TNA rebrand video. Like remember when I'm sure you remember vividly when we didn't know exactly what was going on, like if someone debuted in, but then what were they all talking about in that lake in that Lake Forest together, and then when the box opened, the TNA logo show, and then it's like, oh, TNA's back. That was such an awesome moment.
Yeah.
Here you can tell they had the heads up of like what was going on. I mean, of course, yeah, like the TV deal, but like when it was official, like it kind of sunk in, like we really are into a new chapter, and the slogan that Tom keeps saying, like our story continues, because that's exactly it. The story continues.
Mm-hmm.
Like for all the jackasses in the name series who want to be saying like, oh, this partnership is gonna be the downfall of us, or TNA rebrands mistake. Da da da. You keep eating that crow. Like that's all I can say. And I let a few guys know earlier in my in my account, like eating some of that
Yeah,
crow
same.
because y'all didn't think this day would happen, but it is. So you can say whatever you want, but at the end of the day, like it's pointless. Like TNA is doing things. TNA is getting their wins, and they're making some wins. So give them their flowers or STFU. That's all I gotta say.
Exactly. You're either a fan of a brand or you're a fan of wrestling. And if you're a fan of wrestling, you're happy for TNA. It's another company getting more exposure. So, like I said, and I agree with everything you said.
Hmm.
So, give them their flowers or move away, get out of the way. So,
Exactly.
okay.
And that's our slogan too. Give them their flowers and move out the way.
Yeah. We're going to get into our predictions for Final Resolution. Obviously, it's tomorrow, which is, you know what I mean? At first, I'm like kind of complaining when I'm like, man, that quick turnaround from go home show to pay per view, but it's kind of cool getting like back to back nights of TNA. You know what I mean? It's like fresh.
Yeah.
Before we get into predictions, I
It's
just want to remind what were you saying?
I was saying like it's good. It's good too. Like because I know the talent and the crew they're going to be celebrating all week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to say that high is palpable. You know what I mean? You know, everyone in the back there is just like pumped on the hard, like you said, the hard work they've done. It's finally here. You know what I mean? It paid off.
It paid off. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, before we get into our predictions, I want to remind everyone this week's podcast is sponsored by Shroom Bar, the Protein Mushroom Bar. It's made up of psychedelics, but it's made up of not psychedelics, but 4 powerful mushroom adaptogens. It has lion's mane, which increases focus, memory, and neuroplasticity, making it easier to form new patterns and learn new things. Next time you're trying to learn that new move, it might actually stick in your head rather than forgetting it immediately. It has cordyceps, which increases VO2 max, blood flow, overall endurance. It has reishi, which decreases stress. It has turkey tail, which boosts your immune system. And we all know you're going to need that on those nasty-ass gym mats. On top of all that, it has 12 grams of protein. Go to eatshroombar.com and use code BODYSLAM at checkout for 25% off your first order. Okay. You know, we say this a lot, I think, especially for, and again, that's the nature of the beast when we're dealing with the schedule they have. I think it's going to improve. But even though this quick turnaround, I think this card is pretty stacked for a show that I didn't expect much from. Wouldn't you agree?
Agree.
Okay.
Especially when they had the hiatus and we only had like a few weeks of Impact after Turning Point and then leading to Final Resolution. But I always know they're gonna. Always knew they're gonna put on a good card. At the end of the day, that's what matters. So
exactly. Okay, well, we're gonna start with as usual, and I always like this. A kid, I always like the free show, the free match they would give you on TV, you know, especially when you couldn't afford the show. And I think this is going to be a great opening match. It's going to be Eric Young versus Cedric Alexander. Now, on one hand, you would think now with this TV deal, we're probably going to wait till an opening show to reveal maybe part of the cleanse. But part of me wants to get really a final resolution on this. I really want to see who is part of this group. That's why I'm going with Eric Young with some sort of big revelation at the end of the match of who the cleanse is. Where are you going?
yeah, this should be a very, very good match. Both guys are very talented performers. I'm with you. Like I'm ready for EY to kind of get to the point with what the heck he's talking about. I have assumption that's may not be true. Who would it be? But at the end of the day, like yeah, let's just kind of wrap up. What do you like this whole cleanse? Yeah, this whole cleanse thing. Like where is it getting to? So, but in the meantime, we should have a good match between EY and Cedric.
The only thing that my mind keeps thinking, and it's because I just keep seeing their promos on Twitter once in a while. I guess I could see it being Vincent and Dutch of the Righteous. I guess that works. But at the end of the day, it's like I feel like Vincent does what Eric Young does, and so I don't know. I think that's a little bit of the in terms of just like they both are the kind of they all three can really cut promos.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know how I feel about that. But yeah, I at the top of my head I really don't know who else I could see being part of this group unless again we maybe talked about like maybe Bear with the potential of who they're talking about bringing in, pairing him with EY, maybe Jake in there. But after that, I really don't know.
Yeah. Like, will it even like live up to like his previous groups of like Violent by Design, and all that and stuff. So
Exactly.
yeah, we'll just have to see
Sanity.
what they're planning.
Yeah, Eric Young's been part of some great groups, Team Canada. You know what I mean? So will this one live up to that?
Exactly.
Okay, next we're going to get into which I think should be a very competitive match. Obviously, more than what we got tonight. It's Mike Santana versus Charlie Dempsey. I want you to start us out with this one. What are you thinking?
Yeah, this should be a good one. Interesting styles. Dempsey. Yeah, Dempsey is a very good technical wrestler. No need to say much, especially who his dad is and stuff. So yeah, this is going to be a very good test for Santana. Out of all the NXT thugs group guys, this guy's the one to keep an eye on. So it should be a very interesting style matchup. Oh yeah. So yeah. I think Santana's gonna go over obviously, and then like as he continue on his path to getting the world title back.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like this is obviously this time around. This is kind of the obstacles that Santana has to go get through. You know what I mean? Like similar like a martial arts movie. You know what I mean? He's got to go through all of NXT
Exactly.
to get to obviously Kazarian. If that obviously, I'm assuming that's who's going to be champion by that time. Yeah, I got Santana going over just because you know what I mean. I think that he's not going to lose until he gets his title back. I wouldn't presume.
Yeah.
And I think that will be sooner than later, especially given the news.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next, we're going to move into the Knockouts title match, which I alluded to earlier. I think this is very easy for me, but it's the Inspiration, Cassie Lee, and Jessica McKay. Yeah, taking on Tessa Blanchard and Victoria Crawford. I think we see new champions. You know what I mean? I think it's time. So that's where my mind's going. Where are you leading, Io?
Yeah, this is I mentioned earlier. This is a big challenge for Jesse and Cassie. Yeah, going up against the former world champion and I mean both women former champions in their own right and stuff. So and very cunning tactics. I mean, we saw what Tessa did with Gia Miller at Bound for Glory. So there's no levels that her and Victoria will go to getting the win. But he also the Mila Moore factor. So yeah, I mean, I like Jesse and Cassie, but yeah, I don't see them coming up with the win here. Yeah, especially with that odds. So granted they did beat them before. I mean, they did beat them before back in the summer, but yeah, things are kind of different.
Yeah, Tessa obviously wasn't clear going to be. I think obviously Tessa. I don't think they pull anything this time. I think it will be Tessa. Yeah, you have the Mila Moore factor, which I definitely like that. I definitely like this faction going forward.
And it's ironic, like last year, Tessa returned last year's Final Resolution, and here she is, in tag title contention. But yeah, the injury report said like she's medically clear, so there shouldn't be no shenanigans from her again. Hopefully, no.
Exactly. Okay, next we're going to move into what should be a very entertaining match. I find it funny that during the commentary they hyped it up by saying two deathmatch kings. It's just funny how Cardona is kind of created that little role for himself, in the Indies. But it's Matt Cardona taking on Mance Warner, who obviously will be with SDL. What are you thinking on this one, Io?
Yeah, this should be interesting. Yeah, interesting no DQ match and stuff. Yeah, both guys, both guys very similar, similar. No, similar to that style of match. So it should be very interesting. Cardona, coming off high from that Zack Ryder return to WWE. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised him getting the win.
See, the only reason I disagree is because I just don't see what Matt Cardona winning accomplishes, just in terms of unless he is in a feud where it makes sense for him to win, just in terms, you know what I mean? Yeah, I do think I agree with Matt. I think Mance wins just because
I say that because Warner last time they felt Warner got the win, with using that purse. That's why I mentioned that. But I mean,
that's
yeah,
very
I wouldn't
true.
be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Warner ends up winning again. So
And Matt is interesting because ultimately, it's funny. I think a lot of people think Matt would go back to WWE. Obviously, it'd be one thing if they had something for him, but it seems like Matt does very well for himself and likes to creative freedom, and he seems like he enjoys staying fresh and going to all these different companies. So, and again, just like I said, if him losing doesn't really matter, and you know what I mean, it's not like he's in a big program right now. So that's why I'm insane with him winning really doesn't mean anything. But that's why I'm going to go with Mance, because I think they're going to do something with him soon. I would like to hope. Okay, next we're going to move into what I think should be the match of the night. Well, 1A again. Just given the sum of the parts, we have Order 4 taking on the Rascals. This is the theme of wrestling now. It's the All-Star tag match, the All-Star 8-man. I think this should be good. You know what I mean? I'm looking for high spots galore. I'm looking for just a ton of top 10 plays. You know what I mean? This is going to be Sports Center highlights galore. I would presume. I like the Rascals in this one just because I think that they need it, especially if we're going to really do something with them, really make them look good. Order 4 really don't need it. All of them are very, I think, are kind of established in terms of, again, the team that needs it is the Great Hands, but that's them needing a tag team title run. They don't need to win this 8-man. The Rascals do. Rascals for the win.
yeah, I'll say the way things are going, I think the Rascals should get the win. I'll be shocked if they don't, because momentum hasn't been on their side. Skylar beating Myron and then Mustafa beating Trey. So, but I mean, it can go to anyone, obviously. When you look at things, because the Rascals, they gotta deal with not only the four of them, but also Tasha Steeles and her shenanigans. So it should be interesting.
Exactly. And I could see Order 4 winning, just because it seems like they are trying to position them as the number one heel group, if not 1A, next to the system. But yeah, I like the Rascals here. Okay, next week we're gonna get, and I think that this match is gonna be very telling, because it's gonna be the Hardys versus Tyson DuPont and Tyreek Igwe for the TNA World Tag Team Champions. I'll start us off here. This one's very, like I said, this one's very interesting. But I think the victor doesn't really matter. I think the winner is clear, but I think it's more about what happens in the match. But what are you thinking here?
Yeah, one-sided match, pretty much. But it's a good opportunity for Tyson and Igwe, because honestly, and I watch NXT, they haven't really gotten that much opportunities, to be honest. So I was trying to say some surprised that they're actually still with the company. I mean, that's not a knock. It's just because they haven't been on TV much. Um, and of course, with Wesley, departing, who's Desmond Xavier. So yeah, it's very interesting where those two guys go from here. But yeah, but as far as hey, they're going up against the freaking Hardys. Like that's doesn't get any bigger than that. So even in defeat, they're gonna learn a lot. So yeah, hopefully they take this as a big curve, for whatever happens next for them. Hopefully, so. But yeah, another successful defense for the Hardys, but learning curve for Igwe and Dupont.
Yeah, I would hope though. Like obviously, yes. What I was alluding to, I think the Hardys are the clear cut winner here, but I would hope that the Hardys try to make them in spot at times look good. You know what I mean? I would like to see them do something with Tyson and Tyreek at one point. So it's like, and the NXT tag team division is not great right now, and so they could use they would benefit with
Absolutely.
building some strong teams. So yeah, Hardy's for the win, but I would like
the
to
titles
see.
are on Dark State, and then the titles are on Dark State, and there's not really a credible team to defeat them. Like I can't really think at the top of my head. So, and the funny things, but like they're heels too, so it's just hey, who knows? But I
It's
mean,
funny,
like,
man.
yeah, it's a good way to build their stock. I would say. I'm not saying that they can defeat Darkseid, but it's a way to build a stock. But yeah,
Real quick, it's funny you mentioned NXT. You watch NXT regularly in Dark State. I happened to catch their Dark State's promo with Oba and I thought
Dion
I
Lennox.
thought Dion's promo was very, very good. And while of course Oba was great, I don't know why he's in NXT. You had kind of mentioned he'll be kind of out of there. You would think after he's done with his feud with Ricky.
Yeah,
But yeah, I thought while the gimmick is still shitty, I thought Dark State's improving show by show, and that Dion Lennox promo was very good.
yeah, yeah. We're finally getting to see how they are individually and stuff. Yeah, that was
Mhm.
good. That was good. DX reminded Oba that they were last time that like they met face to face. Like he kind of brushed him. Oba kind of brushed him off there. So yeah, yeah,
Oba's line was really good, where he's like, "You're getting ahead of yourself." Like
yeah,
it was very good.
yeah.
Uh, next, back to TNA. I think this is going to be one of the other matches of the night. It's going to be Laying Lee, the World Knockouts title, Laying Lee versus Xia Brookside, Angel Warriors going at it. Again, usually I would two faces, two heels, weird. Two faces, I think it's definitely a little more weirder, a little more unorthodox. But I think it's going to be a great match. I don't predict any shenanigans. I don't think Xia's turning. You know what I mean? I don't think that would make any sense. This is going to be a competitive match. I think Lay wins in her first defense, but it's going to be good.
Yeah, this is going to be a friendly competition between both women. Lane is not losing. Yeah, this is her first defense. It's her parents since winning the title. So it'll be interesting where both women go after. I mean, like where both women go after this. Like are they going to continue the team while Lane still champion? Or what will be next for Xia. But tomorrow should be a friendly combat.
Exactly. Okay. Next, we're gonna move it again. When is the X Division? Chances on the X Division, if you're gonna put your money on what's gonna be the match tonight, go with the X Division title.
Exactly.
Leon Slater, the X Division champion, taking on AJ Francis. AJ is just one of those guys I think that works really well with smaller guys, and while Leon's not a big guy, I mean small guy necessarily, he's not a big guy, but this is going to be a very good match. I'm looking forward to this one so much. Like I can't wait. I think this is gonna again high spot score, but I think AJ is gonna. They're really gonna make AJ look like something. I don't predict him to win, but I think it's gonna be really good.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is gonna be another chance for AJ to prove to his doubters that he is for real. Like he can actually go and hang with some of the hang with some of the best of them. Another style of like the no weight. I mean no weight limits, no limits. Because Leon's defending against a super heavyweight. I mean and this is gonna be potentially match of the night, if you ask me, between this and then the Order 4 Rascals match. I'm very much looking forward to it, and this should be very good.
I definitely think this is match of the night. Just again, like I said,
it'll be interesting. Continue. Sorry, continue.
Oh, the X Division title match usually just you can't steal the show because I just think it's usually the one everyone looks forward to the most. But no, sorry, what were you saying?
I was gonna say it'll be interesting what role Rich Swann plays in this one.
Yes. Let me just say, I don't want him to lose, but an AJ Francis X Division title run would definitely shock me. You know what I mean? I don't think it makes sense, but that would be interesting.
Yeah. Well, we'll never hear the end of it. Him comparing himself to the AJs, the Daniels, Joe, Sabins, and stuff. So. But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. A, what role which one plays, and B, if Francis lose, how will he react? Because he keeps saying Rich Swann did to get the job done. Well, what happens when you yourself didn't either, sir? So
exactly. Ultimately, I would like to see them go after the tag team championship, Swann and Rich. But okay, next we're gonna move into an interesting match. It's Steve Maclin, it's the international title match. Steve Maclin taking on Stacks. Where are you going, Io?
Maclin. I'll be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Ariana Grace shows up for this one. I mean, it's no secret they're both engaged. I mean, her and Stacks. But it's funny. Yeah, it's funny. She's yet to even address that matter of Stacks and his boys doing their invasion and then attacking her dad Santino and stuff. So, but Ariana's side, this should be interesting. This should be an interesting challenge for Maclin. Stacks, he's a very unorthodox type of talent. From when he was with the D'Angelo family, I always thought like Stacks, he had some potential. He can talk and he can go for a little bit. But it should be an interesting style match for Maclin.
Chat, Io, walk with me here. This is how it starts right here. Io just said it. Ariana Grace is gonna help Stacks win the title, and then it starts. This is how you build it. And you know what? Now, I mean, more even fantasy booking. I don't know when her contracts due. Maybe we can throw Gianna in the mix. I don't know how much longer she's with AEW, but this is how you start the NXT versus TNA Lethal Lockdown. You know what I mean? It's not going to hurt Maclin. You know what I mean? Like you said, Ariana hasn't played a part yet. I don't think that they would have had NXT get involved in the way that they did if they were just going to have this be a quick thing, especially now that we're getting ready to get it. You're going to want to do something big on that first show. You know what I mean? Like that whole show needs to be about like setting the tone going forward for what the AMC audience is going to see on a weekly basis, especially because you have to assume that there's going to be new viewers tuning in.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Again, that's more like just booking way in advance. But again, I think it would be very interesting if you did have Ariana, who you did mention has not got involved, hasn't addressed it.
Yeah.
I think I would like to see something like that happen. I don't think it hurts Maclin, but I'm going to go Stacks.
All right. Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Like I mentioned, I wouldn't be surprised if Ariana again to evolve or appears after. But
Yeah.
yeah, it should be interesting. Yeah. I mean, Stacks. Yeah,
Okay.
Stacks. The one that did Stacks got the pin tonight though, right?
Stacks got the pin tonight.
Like
Yes. Stacks
he
got
did.
the
Okay.
pin tonight,
Okay. All right. So
and
yeah,
and
sort of momentum's on his side a little bit.
yes, that's very good point too. And while you think that maybe reverse booking, no, but you know what I mean. They gotta. I don't. NXT didn't have all the wins tonight, but I don't think they're just going to go winless tomorrow. So
Yeah.
I think they're going to get a win somewhere, and I think that's the match. Okay, finally, last but not least, we're going to get, which I think, again, could surprise people, could still show. Look at the two people in it, two guys who know what they're doing. It's world title match, JDC, and I believe his first ever world title match, taking on Frankie Kazarian.
First
First ever.
Yeah.
This should be good. You start us out with what are you thinking on this one? I think this is going to be great.
I think we're gonna get the best performance out of Johnny Dango. I mean Johnny Curtis. We haven't seen in some time. Probably since when he faced Josh Alexander and stuff. Because I mean, this is pretty much it. Next month he's retiring. At the Genesis, so he's gonna leave nothing behind. Should be interesting. Of course, you have Frankie. Probably. I don't expect a clean finish. I mean, that's because it's Frankie. He's gonna do whatever tactic he can. But should be interesting style. Um, it'll be interesting. I mean, we know what path lays for Frankie, but it'll be interesting what JDC does next. As far as like what's his final match at Genesis, but guess we'll see in the coming weeks. So it should be interesting.
I'm going with Kaz. I think this is going to be a very competitive match. I think JDC is going to shine just because this is going to be obviously one of his final matches. So, and the kind of going out with a bang, and obviously his one and only world title match. I think he's going to show out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be many opportunities where it's going to look like he's won it. But I'm going with Kaz here, and what I think should be a very competitive match.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, his final match is interesting. I wonder where they go. There's a few things that I could see. Like we'll get more into it. Like obviously the easiest route would just him going out with all the system on top with the win. But yeah, we'll get more into the weeks ahead. Like I'll rack my brain thinking like who you could put him in a singles match to have him go out on top if that's what they're gonna do. I wouldn't have him lose. But yeah, no, this is going to be a competitive match. I'm very excited for this one. I'm glad JC's getting this opportunity because I don't think he should be retiring, but that's a different story. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Last pay-per-view of the year. Let's finish this thing off, and then 2026 official is a new era.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. The countdown is on. I remember I think Carlos said like they got something planned for to wrap off the Impact on Axis era. So we'll see in the coming weeks. But yeah, last Impact special of the year. Yeah, go out big, get ready, get folks pumped for January 15th because that's the main. Yeah, that's the main end game right now. So yeah.
I think what took so long too is they had to find the partner which would lead to the right name, and TNAMC just has a great name to it.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean. So, going forward, Thursday Night Impact on TNAMC. You know what I mean. That's going to be this is the whole new game. You know what I mean. Whole new ball game. So this is going to be very exciting. We only have, like we said, 47 days away. So, with that being said, guys, yeah. What were you saying now?
That's very exciting.
Exactly. With that being said, I want to thank you guys all in the chat for joining us. I want to thank you, obviously, for joining me. We'll be back here with predictions. We're hoping for tomorrow, but if things run late, we might have to go the next day.
Yeah.
But I want to thank everyone for joining me. Want to remind everyone in the chat and everyone watching to make sure you like and subscribe to us. That way you get notified whenever we go live, or whenever the great people of Body Slam go live. And with that being said, we'll see you guys all tomorrow night for Final Resolution. We'll catch you guys all tomorrow.
All right, peace.